A building constructed with mathematically perfect orthogonal lines will appear to the human eye to sag and weaken. Following the Bronze Age collapse, Greek architects codified a universal system of proportions known as the orders to resolve this conflict between geometry and perception. This system was driven by logos, the philosophical conviction that the universe possesses an underlying rational structure. Greek architecture functioned as the physical attempt to translate abstract logos into the built environment. Builders achieved this through petrification, a deliberate process where the structural mechanics of timber and mud buildings were translated into enduring stone. To understand the structural logic of the West, we have to reverse engineer the Greek temple. This requires us to deconstruct three pillars: the optical mechanics to correct vision, the spatial typology of the interior, and the proportional grammar of columns. The Greek temple serves as a resolved philosophical equation, utilizing mathematics to reconcile the chaos of nature with the clarity of human reason. To embody logos, architectural refinements corrected visual sagging and pinching. Entasis swells column shafts convexly. Stylobate curvature domes platforms upward for drainage. Column inclination leans columns inward to prevent top flaring. Finally, corner contraction thickens corner columns to counter sky thinning. These calculations were achieved without modern software, requiring masonry skills that allowed for millimeter-precise adjustments across massive blocks of marble. These structural refinements prove the Greeks prioritized the human experience of space over the rigid application of abstract geometry. While the exterior focused on optical perfection, the interior was governed by a separate set of functional logic. Unlike a modern church, the Greek temple was not designed as a congregational space where worshippers gathered inside. Its function was that of a monumental reliquary, engineered to house the cult statue of a deity and protect the city's collected wealth. This function dictated a strict architectural typology, a standardized floor plan. It centers on the cella, an oblong chamber housing the deity, preceded by a front porch, the pronaos. A rear porch, the opisthodomos, mirrors this, while a colonnade called the peristyle wraps the structure. This typology was grounded in the philosophical concept of humanism, which utilized rational inquiry to understand the world. While Egyptian architecture used massive scale to dwarf the individual, Greek proportions were anchored to the human body, ensuring even the largest temples remained relatable to the observer. This typology centered the human experience, using the citizen as the primary unit of measurement for sacred space. The classical orders, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian, represented the ultimate codification of this human-scaled proportion. These three orders represent distinct mathematical systems rather than interchangeable decorative choices. Each order functions as a structural grammar. The dimension of the column's base mathematically dictates the proportions of every other element, from the height of the shaft to the depth of the roof. Architects further categorize these systems by their perceived character, providing builders a vocabulary to express different civic ideals. The Doric order, as seen at Paestum, is characterized by robust, sturdy columns that communicate a sense of strength and solemnity. The classical orders established a rational framework where every individual component is inextricably linked to the design of the whole. This tectonic logic scaled up from the individual temple to govern the layout of the entire polis, or city-state. The Greeks applied intense mathematical rigor to civic spaces like the Great Theater of Epidaurus, using geometric precision to achieve perfect acoustics for massive crowds. In urban design, this led to the Hippodamian plan, a grid system that organized cities into strict orthogonal blocks. The grid provided a logical framework to integrate sacred sites, public markets, and private residential zones. Whether engineering a single column's entasis or laying out an entire city, the objective remained the same: imposing rational order onto the natural landscape. By petrifying timber into stone and engineering refinements to correct visual chaos, the Greeks established the foundational grammar of Western architecture. This specific architectural language was resurrected centuries later as neoclassicism. Western nations adopted this style because it visually communicated the Greek ideals of democratic values, justice, and enlightenment. These principles remain the cornerstone of architectural education and practice today. The architecture of Greek civilization endures because its designers successfully integrated the logic of geometry with the physics of the built environment.